Okay, let's dive into this because today we're looking at a staggering financial phenomenon. I mean, it is literally reshaping the entire tech world right before our eyes. We're talking about the massive scale of wealth that's currently being pumped directly into AI hardware and infrastructure. We hear a ton about the software side of AI, the chatbots, the image generators, but in this explainer, we are following the money all the way down to the bare metal.
Section 1, the AI Compute Gold Rush. Financing the future.
Hundreds of billions. Just let that number sink in for a second. This isn't some wild, long-term speculation for a decade from now. This is a visceral, immediate reality happening today. Wall Street is orchestrating capital flows at this massive scale right now, treating physical AI infrastructure as the absolute bedrock of our future economy. The sentiment on Wall Street is crystal clear. Wall Street is putting hundreds of billions behind the next wave of AI hardware. That's the quote, and they really mean it. Financial giants are pushing these unprecedented, multi-billion-dollar megadeals to ensure the physical hardware is actually there to support what's coming. They are aggressively financing the foundation of this whole next technological era. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is who's actually driving this charge. You see heavyweights like Goldman Sachs leading these massive financing pushes. They are laser-focused on funding AI compute platforms and directly backing market leaders like Nvidia. Wall Street is systematically making sure the heavy machinery of AI has all the financial fuel it needs to scale, because they recognize that the compute power required for the next generation of tech is going to completely dwarf everything we've seen before. But, seeing all this unprecedented wealth move around naturally leads us to a critical question. Why is Wall Street pouring billions into new hardware right now? What's the specific technical trigger that suddenly demanded this massive explosion of investment? Well, that brings us to Section 2, the Agentic AI shift, from knowing to doing. For a while, the tech world was heavily focused on basic model training. That's essentially treating AI as a really smart student passively answering our questions. But now, we're moving incredibly fast to inference workloads, where AI is actively executing real-time tasks. And here's the catch. A model that constantly acts, loops through continuous feedback, maintains massive context windows, and iterates in real time, that requires exponentially more continuous raw compute power than a simple text-based chatbot. That active doing is what we call agentic AI, autonomous AI agents capable of executing real-time tasks and actually taking over everyday jobs. So the crucial point is that this exact evolution, moving from a chatbot that gives you a recipe to an autonomous agent that actually goes out, orders the groceries, schedules the delivery, and logs the expense, that is exactly what requires that massive exponential growth in hardware infrastructure. It's like the quote says, AI is no longer just answering questions, it's taking over everyday jobs. And honestly, this is exactly why Wall Street is opening its wallet so wide right now. Autonomous action requires constant, massive, real-time computational power. The billions aren't for the AI of yesterday. They are the required literal building blocks for these autonomous agents of tomorrow. Which brings up a really fascinating dilemma. If AI is taking over everyday jobs, what happens when the machine becomes the worker? Specifically, what does this mean for the people who actually build the technology itself? That leads us to our final section, Section 3, the end of coding. AI is eating software. AI is eating software. We are witnessing the entire software industry begin a profound, absolute transition away from manual code writing. The very act of typing out lines of code, character by character, is being aggressively phased out by the very machines the industry created in the first place. Instead of typing code, we're entering the era of intent-driven development. This is a process where users simply describe what they want, rather than manually writing code. You just provide the intent, and the AI handles the execution. It's a workflow that effectively replaces the traditional role of a human software engineer. And this brilliantly illustrates what the new life cycle actually looks like. It's completely different. Step 1, the user simply describes their intent in plain, everyday language. Step 2, the agentic AI actively goes out and builds the system. And step 3, the AI maintains that system over time. There is absolutely no human manually debugging or compiling code in this loop. In this new model, manual coding is effectively dead. So the end of traditional coding how intent-based AI is rewriting the tech industry. When you connect all the dots we've talked about in this explainer, everything makes perfect sense. Those hundreds of billions of dollars from Wall Street we talked about at the very beginning, they are the physical engines making this intent-based revolution possible. The tech industry is literally rewriting itself, and it demands every single ounce of that AI compute gold rush to pull it off. You just can't have continuous intent-driven software ecosystems without mountains of silicon to run them.
Which leaves us with one deeply personal question to consider today. In an agentic AI future, if AI is taking over everyday jobs and even writing the software itself, what will you build? Think about your own role in this completely new landscape. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I'll leave you to ponder that thought.